It'd take too long. Okay, here's what we got. Eric July is a YouTuber known as Young Rippa. I don't know if you follow him. I followed him for a really long time because I saw him with Ethan Van Sciver a while back. Followed him. Great creator. He made his own comic. Basically, after criticizing DC Comics and Marvel Comics, Star Wars, just the entire industry, Eric wrote his own story and put it into a comic. There's a little few details about this story that people don't know. It went massively viral. You know that most likely if you've heard it. 1.8, last time I checked, in 2 days, $1.8 million already. Insanity. Now, Eric, one thing that people don't know, he actually had the entire story written, everything drawn up, everything done before he even... People think that because he did a crowdfunding campaign that he still has to do all the work. He's done all the work. He just has to print the amount that he's got to send out. Now, let's get into it. Eric July of Rippaverse Comics launched his Rippaverse Comics, but immediately it was banned on the comic book subreddit, which touts over 2.5 million, as they say here, true believers. Taking a little shot at them. They deserve it. I like it. Bounding in the comics if you want to read the article yourself, but let's get into it real quick. Twitter user Uncapped Turtle shared a screenshot showing the subreddit banned July's promotional video for Rippaverse Comics titled, quote, "Welcome to the Rippaverse." Not only was the promotional video banned from the subreddit, but the user attempting to share it was permanently banned. An error message post read, "Sorry, this post has been removed by the moderators of r/comicbooks. Moderators remove posts from feeds for a variety of reasons, including to keep communities safe, civil, and true to their purpose." Now, I don't know what purpose that the subreddit for comic books has to ban Eric July, but most likely it's to shill for the industry because Eric's not part of it. He said, "I'm going to make my own comic." People loved it so much that they just went and ordered the hell out of it. And right now, comic books are down and the industry is in shambles. So to see an independent creator do this, you know they got to be mad. I really do think that has an effect on them being banned from r/comics, right? Why would they? It's insane. Anyway, though, let's take a look at what the Rippaverse is by going to his YouTube channel, where I'm going to suggest and hope that you'll subscribe and follow Eric if you're not already following him. Young Rippa 59, Young Rippa 59. And let's go and take a look at what I think is going to be one of the best comic book graphic novel. Hopefully it'll be into a movie type stories that we're going to have. And I hope it goes that far. Let's take a quick look. Now, I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm going to play this with respect to Young Rippa, but take a look.
I'm Eric July, founder, owner, and writer. Welcome to the Rippaverse. The Rippaverse is the result of a comic book lifer that wanted to be a part of the solution instead of always griping about the problem. Now, don't get me wrong, this was always a part of my aspirations. However, the current climate certainly sped things up. You've watched some of your favorite comic book characters be bastardized to the point to where they're completely unrecognizable. They're just used as career stepping stones for a lot of writers that don't care about the lore. Some even despise their fans. Those are people that just want to tell stories that represent their social political views, even if they don't make sense for the characters that they're writing. And of course, these mega corporations that control these properties don't exactly make it easy for you to get in and understand what's canon. So maybe it's time for something new.
What just happened? Did you see that? That is not, I didn't plan that. Let me open up this video in my other web browser and attempt to share it on Twitter from here. What in the hell just happened? It said that it was blocked when I tried to share it from here. What? I've never seen that happen.
We are a comic book company first and foremost that will never be forgotten no matter how big this venture gets. And we are guided by a set of principles known as the Rippaverse ethic. You will find this on a page in every single book that we release, and it's a set of standards that we certainly want you to hold us to. There are three main things that we will always emphasize. Number one, respect the customer.
I gotta talk. That's something that they're not doing, and I'm gonna show you in just a second after this examples where they are not respecting the customer, but let's keep moving.
We aren't owed your dollar, but we love to have you as longtime supporters. It's going to be up to us to keep you interested and invested. Now, anytime there's passion involved, there's gonna be those conflicts, but we'll respect you, so as long as you respect us, it's all about reciprocity. Our second point of emphasis is canon and continuity. This is an ever-expanding universe. There's going to be many of characters that will be introduced, but when you buy a book from us, you own a piece of history. It matters. These events will not be erased by...
Okay, let's get back to it. I don't want to play too much of his video. So that was Rippa. Okay, that's not Rippa. There we go. So as he was, now this story is going to talk about how he's been deleted and held back, and even with that happening, they've hit record numbers, but they'll talk about it. So a message stated, you've been permanently banned from participating in r/comic books. Who cares? You can still view and subscribe, but you're not able to post or comment. It continued. If you have a question regarding your ban, you can contact the moderator team. The user did indeed contact the moderator team and asked, I'm curious, why was I banned? A moderator responded, you broke rule number 1 as pertaining to supporting comics from hate groups. From hate groups. Rule number 1 on the comic books subreddit reads, Rule 1, be civil. Racial, sexual, homophobic, or cultural slurs will result in a permanent ban. Do not disparage, differently abled, or threaten or incite harm against other users. He didn't do this. How? I just showed you what he talked about. How in the world does he get a ban like this? It's insanity. It says, be respectful of pronouns. Intentionally using the incorrect pronoun after being corrected is a violation of Rule 1. That didn't happen. While debate and differing views are encouraged, please keep discussion on topic. Do not resort to personal attacks and don't be a jerk. Well, that's good that all he did was share a video. It goes on, individuals of every demographic are important and deserve representation. What about Eric July? Both in media and as creators. So it really seems like these rules just spout a bunch of BS. You get me? They just spout a bunch of garbage that they don't really mean, because it's like he was banned literally just because of rumors or thoughts they may have had about him. Where's evidence? Where is reasoning? Where is common sense? The comic book subreddit is no stranger to banning comic book creators for having different views. Oh, really? Than the moderators. The subreddit previously banned Florida Man editor and Bleeding Full editor-in-chief Chris Braley when he shared a link to the Indiegogo page for Florida Man. Like the Reddit user attempting to promote the Rippaverse, Braley was informed he was banned for Comicsgate support. Now, I know some of you that follow me aren't going to know what Comicsgate is, and I could explain it maybe from one perspective, but instead I'm going to do it from two sides, because it's politically motivated to some extent. Kind of. Let me explain. Comicsgate is essentially like every other, like, Gamergate, all those types of gates that came out around 2016, 2017, 2018. It basically is where a group of people come out and claim that they have been banned, they have been treated unfairly because of political views or because other people don't agree with them, and they form into groups and they start to do things independently. Now, you could say that Eric doing what he's doing basically means that Comicsgate exists or is real. Problem is, one side looks at it how I just described it. The other side, you would maybe call the more woke side, is the only way I can really say it. They believe that the other side, those people are hateful, ignorant, dumb, and deserve to be banned, okay? So the thing is, the middle ground of this whole thing is that from the outside looking in, I really do see that there is a bias, and the bias isn't coming from those people who are out there like Geeks and Gamers, Eric July. There is one thing that binds the people together, like Ethan Van Sciver. He was a green editor, like literal member of the comic book media, the big companies, and he was ousted when he did his earlier on for doing Cyber Frog, his comic, and he was ostracized in the same way. And there is one thing in common with these people. It's not that they're hateful. It's not that they're part of a hate group. It's not that they speak hate speech. It's that they all criticize the big comic books, the big companies, and the big media. They stand up to them, and that is the thing that they all have in common. Now, you'll go out there and see things like demonetization. You'll see things like people not being able to speak about certain subjects like other people would be able to, and you'll say to yourself that there isn't a bias. The thing is, the bias is pretty much, it's not a conspiracy like a lot of people tried to claim it was. It's a real thing. Does that mean that Comicsgate's real? I don't think it is. Honestly, the skewed view that these people, if they were hateful people, then yeah, I would say it does exist. But from the perspective of the band, from the perspective of those people that have been kicked out, that have been treated unfairly, I think that it doesn't exist. You see what I'm saying? The fact that they are hate groups is what I mean by that Comicsgate doesn't exist. So in a way it does, from both the perspective from both sides. Either way, let's get back to this. I just want to make sure you understand what it is before we move on. A moderator informed him Comicsgate support is not tolerated on the subreddit, such as pro-Comicsgate websites like Bleeding Fool. Comicsgate-led crowdfunding campaigns like those from Chris Braley. You've been banned, as they just show the proof. Comicsgate subreddit ban does not seem to have affected the launch of Rippaverse. When this article was written, $1 million was broken when that article was written. Since then, he's gotten close to 2 million. This is how many people out there, like, they want you to think that the people out there who are rejecting things like the things I'm about to show you in a few more examples, you know, as we get moving. But myself, I reject the new Star Wars. I reject the new Lord of the Rings. I reject companies that go in and feel like they have to add things like forced diversity, not diversity, forced diversity. And I want you to give me a chance and show you what else I'm going to say before you make up your mind on what I'm saying. But when they go in and they try to basically focus on these things while they're making a comic instead of putting the story first, then I bail on those comics. I do support people of every race, every color, every demographic, gay, straight, whatever. I'll support people based on their work, whether they do a good show. The problem I have is when you put things above the storyline, whether it be a movie, a comic, or anything else, then it brings down the quality. I just dropped my vape of that show, movie, or comic. Getting back into what I was reading really quick, we're almost done with this one. July himself, Eric, also responded to the ban, writing on Twitter, quote, "It's all good. We don't need the folks that wish to protect the old guard. They can't stop us and we're gonna win," and he's right. And that old guard is those people that are literally, without any good reason, without being able to cite a single word of hate speech or hateful rhetoric, just because literally they've been criticized by these people and their fifis are so hurt, they've got to ban people like Rippa from doing what they're doing. Now, this is probably bad because there's so many people behind Rippaverse. They're going to want those people in the comics book subreddit. They're going to want those people into, you know, as customers. And there's this saying that's out there that I've been following for a while. I don't necessarily like certain creators who use it all the time, but I do like the basis of the saying, without respect, we reject. You know, there are people out there, they make, let's use Star Wars for an example. So Disney came in and bought Star Wars. Disney holds, and the people there hold a specific political affiliation. And they look at anyone out there who disagrees with them, not just as people that they disagree with. They look at them as lesser than people. We shouldn't have the same kind of voice. We shouldn't have the same kind of representation. We shouldn't have the same kind of shares. And that's okay, because supposedly we are hateful, horrible people. Now, though, they then get mad when 60 to 80 to 90% of their audience stops watching what they put out once they start acting that way. And that's the respect part. We're supposed to respect, we're supposed to have companies. If, let's just say there's an ice cream company, are they supposed to basically discriminate based on political belief or religion or whatever it is that brings our viewpoint out? Are they supposed to discriminate, or are they supposed to sell us a good ice cream product, right? That's my point. So if you got a movie and for some reason they feel like we need to buy Star Wars, what are you going to do with Star Wars? We're going to put a lot of our messaging in it, and we're going to put a lot of this and that and this in it. Well, then we're not going to watch it. Oh, you're hateful for not watching it. No, you're hateful for treating us like you do and for doing what you're doing to the IPs. If you want to make a new IP, make it. Don't affect the other IPs. And I've got plenty of examples coming up in the next few minutes. And since Navy's in here, I will ask him in 2 seconds, as soon as I finish this, what he thinks. Though, as for the Rippaverse story, whose main character is named Isom, I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly, the campaign details it follows Avery Silman, a common rancher. That wasn't always the case. After obtaining unique abilities, or his powers, his superhero powers, Avery spent a brief stint being a hero under the moniker Isom in the city of Flora Park, Texas. The description continues, realizing that it wasn't for him, he walked away from this life, but after responding to a call from his sister and a violent altercation ensues, it has Avery reconsidering his approach. Now, the thing that gets me about this comic, about this graphic novel, is the art and the story. Number one, the story seems awesome, but the art looks badass, okay? The book, written by Eric July with art by Cliff Richards, former Superman son of colorist Gabe Eltieb. Eric Weathers provides his skills as the letterer. The book, which is 96 pages, and other add-ons such as t-shirt, trading cards as part of the campaign, are expected to ship backers in August. Eric did thank his supporters once he hit 1 million. Navy, you're in here. Have you heard about this story, or is this the first time you've seen it, me showing this right now?
This is the first time I've heard of it. And I know who Rippa is. Like, I've listened to his YouTube channel several times, but I was not aware that he was making a comic book.
Yeah, he really kind of threw it out all at once. I don't think he even expected it to get as big as it's gotten. 2 million, man. Actually, let's see. Let's go find it real quick. Let's find the actual Rippaverse. I think it's on GoFundMe, but let's do Rippaverse GoFundMe, I guess. I don't know. What? There we go. Nope. Okay, how about this? You should be able to find this just by typing it in. Campaign. Let's do Rippaverse campaign. Okay, here's Eric's Twitter. We'll do it. I don't know why this is doing this, but
we have a Tom's Toys that has joined us.
Tom, hey buddy, good to see you.
Yo Rock, yo Navy.
Have you seen the Rippaverse thing yet, Tom?
I checked it out a little bit, but I mostly caught up on it when you were talking about it just now.
Yeah, so I've got it pulled up. I think this is rippaverse.com. And I don't know if he's doing this through his own website. I want to see how much he's pulled in as of right now, but I'm having a hard time finding it, so I don't know. But no, it looks really good, man. Like, I think what I'm going to do is try to get a copy of it. And I know that most comic book, there are channels out there that can actually show pages from comic books and they don't typically strike them or anything. So I'm not going to put his work out. I think I might do a review. Here we go. $2,050,000. Their revenue goal is over what? Revenue goal is 2 million%? Holy shit. I guess he wanted to make 100,000. I don't know if that's right. 22,000 customers.
It looks like the goal was 100,000 and they raised over 2 million. Yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be like 200,000% of their initial, something like that. Anyway, which is just excellent. I think it's great. Yeah, I mean, dude, I think it's awesome to see an independent creator doing something so good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think it's pretty cool that he's doing it in a way that goes along with the complaints and such that he's had about the comic book industry for so long.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. Definitely with you. So
the thing is, okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, the thing is, we say this all the time, right? When we talk about, like, you know, the aspects of how they're changing comics or changing things from the original to this new aspect, right? We say all the time, you know, if you want something different, go out and make it.
Make it
what
yourself.
What did Rippa do? He went out and made it himself. He's like, I don't like the way comics are doing. I'm not trying to reinvent, you know, Spider-Man or Captain America. I'm going to go out and create a brand new character. He's from Texas, right? Who gets, you know, magic powers, and this is what's going to happen. I'm doing it on my own. What happens? He gets banned. It's like,
yeah. Well, he gets banned from the biggest resource or biggest place for comics. Now, the weird thing is, I did some checking when I first heard about this story, and I'd found claims on Twitter. So don't take it with, you know, you got to take it with a grain of salt, that the r/comics has allowed independent comic creators to share their comics on that subreddit. So they're only banning certain ones, which I think is really messed up. Especially when I've followed Rippa for as long as I have, and I've never heard a hateful thing come out of his mouth. I've always seen him be fair. He's really well spoken. Like, he will just like lay down these perfect, like, you know, descriptions of things that are going on. I think it's why he gets so many views. Okay, we got to nail out these subjects though if we're going to get through them. So let's really quick and give me the most, when I ask for a response, give me the most basic response here, okay? Because I don't want to get demonetized. So there's a personality called Brianna Wu. I've actually criticized Brianna Wu in the past, and when I was on Bounding into Comics looking for the Rippa story, I found this story. So I want to look at it really fast. I think it brings a topic here that we talked about a week or two ago, so let's just hit it real quick. Gamergate personality Brianna Wu says adoption serves rich, white, church-going Christians, calls it a pipeline of giving children to families intolerant of difference. I thought it said abortion. I guess it says adoption. Let's just look at this real quick. So Brianna Wu, failed political candidate Brianna Wu, recently maligned adoption, claiming it serves rich white Christians, and described it as a pipeline of giving children to families intolerant of difference. She wrote on her Twitter account, people talk about adoption like it's a panacea for losing abortion. Well, I was adopted. Adoptees don't have our stories told in media, so let me tell you what it's really like. It's a lifelong wound that never leaves you. You lose a piece of yourself permanently like a limb. She continued, when people talk about their family's lineage or relatives they resemble, you feel panic, alienation, and loss. There's a pain of having been thrown away that haunts you through your entire life. The first thing you learn is disconnection as a coping mechanism. In the next tweet, and that's before you even get into who gets to adopt. Know who the adoption system is built to serve: rich, white, church-going Christians. She then asserts, so you're talking about a pipeline of giving children to families intolerant of difference. Let's stop right there. That's my first problem with what Brianna said, is she's saying that all Christians are intolerant of differences. I know many Christians that are extremely tolerant. So maybe it's personal experience, and you're a Christian, Navy, so what do you think about that?
Well, my first problem with her is that she claims to speak for all adopted kids, which is not true. And then number two, I think the thing is that historically, those kind of families have been seen as the most stable, right? Whether it was right or wrong, right? That was the view, okay? You're wealthy, which means you have no problem taking care of the child. And the aspect of having a faith or a religion historically in this country meant that you were most likely more stable. And is that 100% true? No. But yeah, no, it really irritates me because I know tons of people who aren't Christian who adopt all the time. And so I don't know where she's getting this from.
True. So she could just be kind of like narrowing down her own experience. Well, let's see what else she said real quick. She concluded her thread writing, I'm an adult now and my adoption is it's hard to talk about. I have no doubt my decision to not have kids is directly tied to the trauma of being adopted. So just know that every adoption involves trauma for the child and trauma for the parent, she finished. So before I ask Tom what he thinks, that's the thing though, that people step in to adopt so they can help the child that is in that situation. I don't necessarily think you can put blame on the people adopting unless they do something wrong, of course, in this situation, because I feel that it's something kind they're doing. What do you think, Thomas? Do you think Brianna Wu is off point, or do you think she's on point?
It's hard to say because, like, then you bring up, well, any child has trauma if they go through a divorce, you know? It's the same thing, like, but how much of that trauma would be mitigated from a child being like, well, my parents didn't want me, they put me up for adoption, but now they're in a house that loves them anyways. You know, there's trauma there, but I think a lot of her issues are stemming from her own trauma that she doesn't deal with or something like that.
Yeah, I do agree, because again, I find that the people coming in to adopt are helping kids that, you know, it's one of those things where so if all these like rich white Christians all of a sudden said, you know what, you're right, we're not going to do that anymore, and we're not going to adopt, it would just mean there's a lot of kids that aren't getting a very qualified home. Now, I saw this while was about to close the story, and I found it interesting. I don't know what she said, so let's just hit it really quick and move on. Former congressional candidate Brianna Wu falsely accuses Nintendo and Pokemon of making Holocaust jokes. So, due to their use of a popular meme, on September 20th, the official Pokemon Twitter account tweeted out a simple joke: Porygon, a Pokemon, did nothing wrong. A tongue-in-cheek defense in reference to the Electric Soldier Porygon episode of the Pokemon anime that was infamously banned after the scene depicted induced seizures in hundreds of Japanese viewers. Though the phrase originated from the intentionally hyperbolic joke that Adolf did nothing wrong, the phrase has since evolved into a commonly parodied meme, typically used to hyperbolically and playfully defend characters that engaged in controversial or bad behavior. The phrase has since been used to refer to numerous fictional characters and entities, such as Metal Gear Solid's boss, Big Boss, did nothing wrong. And I believe that's correct. So, again, you know, this is my problem with a lot of these self-proclaimed journalists, self-proclaimed, you know, political figures. I think there's a reason why they didn't go to college and they didn't, you know, officially go into the field, because they have the worst takes ever. And it really is kind of dumb to say that a meme, like, because people use that meme all the time. So that's just kind of hilarious, to be honest.
Well, language and art evolves beyond its original concept a lot of times, and memes do that so quick.
Oh, yeah. Well, a great example is the OK hand signal. You know, this is literally OK, because this is an O, and then these three fingers make a K visually. So everybody's used it. Now, there was a campaign by 4chan to turn it into a racist symbol as a joke, and it took hold. So then there was a period of time where people said that if you did that, you were doing a racist symbol. Though most people have been educated to the fact that that was a false campaign from 4chan. It was not real. It was invented. It was completely fictional. And a lot of people use that hand signal like they used to. You know, like if somebody yells to you from a few 30 feet away, hey, did you grab that board I wanted you to grab over there to bring in the house? Yeah, okay, got it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's also a game.
Yeah.
Played in the military all the time, where it's like a gotcha game.
I think that's why they chose it. Yeah, you go, hey, you tap them, you go, hey, and they look, and if they look at it, you get to punch them in the arm. Yeah. Despite its now common use as a tongue-in-cheek meme, Wu took to Twitter to personally chastise the official Pokemon account for what she perceived as a joke about the Holocaust. She said, "Great to see the Pokemon account making Holocaust jokes. Killing it, guys." Literally in response to Porygon did nothing wrong. Just too much. So maybe that explains why Wu would make such a bad take. Let's just say Wu is known for making a bad take. Now, I'm going to hit this one really fast because this is a boring one.